Hello, guys, and welcome back to the NW Sportscast. Today, we got Eagle fan Alex Torres. They traded up in the NFL draft this year. We're going to see his reaction. And then you have three Seahawks fans, the perfect fans, to give their unbiased opinion on all the first-round selections. So here we go. First pick, we have Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to give that an A-plus pick. They didn't screw it up. Pretty obvious, though. Yeah. Levi?
What's the question?
A-plus pick.
Oh, the Jaguars? Yeah, A+.
Seth?
What the question is, did they win?
Do you think Trevor Lawrence getting selected with an A-plus pick?
Yes, A+. Yes, they're the winners of the draft. Trevor Lawrence, definitely.
Yeah. And Alex?
I'm just gonna give it an A. I don't think it's an A plus.
Yeah.
I'll just say an A.
Okay. Next, we have Zach Wilson. I'm going to give this an A- pick. I think it was a good selection. It was kind of the obvious pick, but I don't know. I think Zach Wilson might not turn out, so I'm going to give it an A-.
See, I think Zach Wilson is an A plus compared to Trevor Lawrence being an A. I feel like Zach Wilson has more upside. I feel like Trevor Lawrence, although he's a good player, is a little bit overhyped. And if the Jacksonville Jaguars don't fix up their offensive line, it's going to be a little tough. It's going to be like Joe Burrow all over again.
Levi, Seth?
Yeah. I'm going to give this a B+ because I think that Fields is a better pick than Zach Wilson. I think Fields is the second most pick in this draft. And I would take the more talented player. So that's what I'm going to – I mean, he's not a bad player by any means. Zach Wilson still has
his arm talent is insane.
But I think if there's a better player available, in my opinion, then it's not going to be an A pick. It's going to be a B+ pick.
So Wilson has a better arm, but Fields is definitely more athletic. And I think Fields probably has more upside. So for the Jets, yeah, it is interesting that they went with Wilson over Fields, but Fields fell all the way to 11, which makes me think the Jets weren't the only team that was under-evaluating Fields. So I'm not really going to blame the Jets too much for that because I think, they were going with the consensus, and clearly the scouts were overwhelmingly saying that Wilson should be a higher pick. I'll say it's an A-. I think Trey Lance or Fields would have been better in my opinion, but at the same time, the scouts seem to think that Wilson is the guy. So I'm not gonna hit him too hard for that.
Yeah. For the most part, I agree there. I do think actually that Zach Wilson has the higher upside, just obviously with more erotic play style, and Justin Fields is maybe the more consistent player. But I think Zach Wilson was the right pick, though. That's why I give him an A-. Next, though, this is the guy we didn't talk about being picked number 2. Obviously, Seth thinks Justin Fields should go number 2, but then Trey Lance actually ended up going 3. He's actually the third quarterback taken. So this is the biggest hyped up pick. As a Seahawks fan, I was kind of bummed out that they didn't take Mac Jones. I would rather them take Mac Jones, but I would have rather them taking Trey Lance than Justin Fields, though. So I do think I'm going to give them a B+ pick on this because I think Trey Lance just has super high upside. But I definitely think there's a big chance he doesn't work out.
I'm going to give him a B-. It's a good pick, but like the announcers were saying, he only played one game in his season. He's got, compared to the other first-round quarterbacks who've gone in the past, they've all had around 12,000 net yards. He's only got 395. He's only played like a really good full season for 1 year. Last season, the one game he played in, he had like 2 interceptions and 3 touchdown passes. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of teaching. I think what's going to end up happening is the teaching, it's going to be good because it's Kyle Shanahan, but I don't know if he's going to perform to people's expectations.
Yeah, I'm giving this an A+ pick for me. I think that of all the quarterbacks, I think that Trey Lance has the most potential for the future. I think Lawrence is going to come in and be a star right off the bat and be a Pro Bowler in his first couple seasons. I agree with Alex, though. Lance is going to take some teaching. It's going to take Jimmy G starting some games next season, maybe even into the second season. It's going to take Kyle Shanahan giving him those pointers and having a quarterback coach who knows what he's doing. but I think eventually Lance could be the guy with the highest ceiling, and I'm going to make a bold prediction here.
He's gonna swipe the Seahawks.
Trey Lance will be the one player from this draft who wins the Super Bowl.
Nah,
The
Devontae
one
Smith.
The one
Devontae
quarterback.
Smith.
The one quarterback. from this draft.
Devontae Smith will win the Super Bowl.
No, I definitely think Trevor Lawrence is
He's
going
on
to
the
find a way to get one.
Maybe. I'm saying
I feel like
Lance.
Trevor Lawrence is gonna turn out like a who's the quarterback who used to
I
be
think
for the
Trevor
Bears
Lawrence-
who always
Trevor
like
Lawrence
smoked?
could definitely be an MVP
Jay
level
Cutler.
quarterback.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
gonna
don't
turn into
really-
like a Jay Cutler type player.
I don't really trust the Jaguars to make a Super Bowl.
Oh
but at
no,
the
it's
same
Urban
time,
Meyer. It's
maybe-
Urban Meyer.
Maybe Urban Meyer turns that place around, and we're talking in 3 years about the Jaguars as a dynasty. Hopefully, because I like to watch the Jaguars. They used to be one of my favorite teams. But
Yeah. Seth, thoughts?
I'm gonna say a B pick because, like I
Same
said,
as
he had a
me.
ton of potential. I mean, I see where he's coming from. That down the line in the Niners system, he could be the best maybe out of these players. But it's gonna be a process. Like he's gonna have to get there by development. He's gonna have to stay behind. I mean, he probably will not start. He might play like game 17 or 18 this season, but he won't start. He'll be behind Jimmy G if he stays there. Like he'll be behind someone and have to learn the offense, learn how to play in San Francisco, and eventually he could get to that level. But off the bat, I'm gonna give it a B pick, just B.
Yeah. I do think Trey Lance is better than Mac Jones, though. Do we all agree with that?
Oh yeah.
yes,
Yeah. So I definitely think they could have messed up this pick and they didn't. Kyle Pitts goes next to the Falcons. I projected them going with
Justin
them
Fields.
going with Trey Lance.
I have them going with
But
Justin
they ended
Fields.
up taking a tight end and sticking with Matt Ryan. So they're probably going to get rid of Julio because they have to get rid of somebody if they want to have some sort of salary cap. Right now, they won't even have a salary cap to sign all of their incoming NFL draft people that they're going to get. So I think it's a good pick, though. Kyle Pitts, arguably the most talented player other than Trevor Lawrence in this draft.
Or Jamar Chase.
yeah. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I love Kyle Pitts as a player. I do think that
I'm giving it an A.
taking a tight end with such an early pick can be a little bit risky just because of how hit or miss tight ends are. There's been some huge busts.
Potential wide
first
receiver.
round. But I think the reason I'm giving it maybe even an A minus because Kyle Pitts, he really does look like something special. He looks like he could be the next Travis Kelce.
Atlanta's gonna screw him up.
Someone who can really come in and be one of the best pass catching tight ends in the league. So if he can turn into a Travis Kelce type of guy, then that's an amazing pick.
I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him an A minus as well. It's a good pick, but I think it's the wrong pick for Atlanta. Atlanta has Julio. They have Ridley. They just signed Mike Davis. I don't know if it was as essential for them to grab a pass catcher as it was to get the quarterback of the future. If you look at the upcoming quarterbacks, there aren't a lot of quarterbacks who are going to fit into the scheme that, like, say, Trey Lance or Justin Fields was going to. Matt Ryan's a very stable quarterback. He's not like a runner. Matt Ryan,
Trey
you
Lance
think
and
of
Justin Fields don't fit that scheme.
well, that's the thing. The whole thing is Atlanta's trying to change that scheme. They rehire the coach. They get a new running back. The whole thing Atlanta's trying to do is they're trying to rebuild.
They
And
hired
I feel like the first thing they needed to do in order to rebuild is, I'm sorry, but Matt Ryan's getting old and he should be moving down into a second string spot. And so I feel they should have drafted a quarterback, probably Justin Fields.
so a lot of people said that. I disagree. They hired Arthur Smith, a guy who is coaching for the Titans, whose quarterback was Ryan Tannehill. That doesn't give me that doesn't really make me think that they're trying to change their scheme to become more of a mobile quarterback scheme. But maybe. I don't know.
It would have been interesting.
Yeah, it's a
Definitely.
convincing argument.
And I'll
Seth?
say, next year there will probably be a guy who has a breakout season similar to how Mac Jones did this year, similar to how Joe Burrow did last year, and they can always draft him if it fails for them this year.
Maybe
Seth?
Atlanta didn't need another pass catcher, but you just drafted a freaking 6'6", 250-pound, fast, physical, insanely good pass-catching tight end that's going to be a future star. This guy's the absolute monster. He was a monster at Florida. This is an A-minus pick. Or this is an A-minus pick.
I have an
I
A.
think they both said A-minus as well, but I mean, you got a guy who's actually a monster. I mean, he can be a receiver. He can play tight end. I'm not sure how good his blocking is, but he will be a threat anywhere. You can probably put him out as a receiver, and he can burn a corner, honestly. And you guys get something like that. That's a special talent. And I mean, if he can come out and be a beast for them, Matt Ryan can try to stay up 1 more years. But like I said, you can find the guy next year or the year after that. Well, Ryan has a couple more years left, and then you get someone to throw the ball to him and Ridley. But I like this pick a lot.
Yeah, me too. I like the Cowboys pick. Next, we'll go through these next ones a little bit quicker, but Jamar Chase at 5. I really, really wanted them to take Penei Sewell
Same.
to protect Joe Burrow, but I guess they want to reunite Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow.
But I
They
mean-
had that breakout season together. That was Jamar Chase's last season, and it's not
they
a
already
terrible
have a
pick,
good
but
Do they already
What?
have a good receiving core on Cincinnati, right?
not great.
Well, they
They
have
have like Tyler Boyd.
the
They have
T.
the guy
Higgins.
from Clemson.
T. Higgins was a rookie last year, and hopefully will get better. So if you put T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, combine that with a veteran Tyler Boyd, that's a really, really strong receiving core.
Just in my opinion, if Penei Sewell didn't exist, I think this is a B plus pick. Jamar Chase is super special, but since Penei Sewell was there and your biggest
Yeah.
weakness is offensive line, I'm gonna give it a C minus pick.
They addressed something they could have
Wow.
addressed in the second round with somebody like Kadarius Tooney.
I'm gonna say I would have called it a C, but because Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow already have that chemistry from their days at LSU, I'm gonna up it from a C to a B. So I'm gonna give
An
him
entire grade just for that.
well, you said you
Wow.
swapped it from a B plus to a C minus, which is over an entire.
That's
So-
because Penei Sewell is that good.
Well, I agree. Penei Sewell is that good, and that's why if it had been any other receiver that they picked, if they picked Devontae Smith there or Waddle or anybody else, I would have given them a C for passing on Sewell. But because it's Chase, I'm gonna assume that this is something that Burrow really wants and something that the Bengals think that will really help them. So I'm gonna give him a B.
You don't think Joe Burrow wanted Penei Sewell?
He probably did, but at the same time, getting his former teammate, I think there's an indication that Burrow would probably would want that. I mean, don't you?
Yeah. Seth?
Here's a scenario. I have a nut allergy, right? Drew has 20 Snickers bars, and Levi has a bag of Skittles. Now, here's the thing. I'm the Bengals. Drew is Jamar Chase, and you are Penei Sewell. The Bengals went with their gut, but I feel like what's going to end up happening is Jamar Chase, yes, he's going to be a good player, but it's going to come back to bite them because Joe Burrow's not going to have the time to throw to him when he's getting pressured so much because they don't have that Skittles bag in Penei Sewell. And what's going to end up happening is Jamar Chase is going to clog up the gut and they're going to die of asphyxiation because they don't have anybody blocking for Joe Burrow.
Wow, very graphic.
I
Seth,
mean, it's not like
what?
the Bengals have the worst O-line.
We're gonna go to Seth here.
Did you see their
Seth,
training camp last
Shut
year?
up, Seth. What is your grade?
I'm gonna give it a C minus.
Thank you.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
same.
have protection for your franchise quarterback than a receiver when you already have T. Higgins, who's looking like he could be a star. Tyler
Always
Boyd, who's
use
a
protection.
receiver. Who I'm not even sure who tight end is anymore, but you can always go out and sign a free agent or trade for a different receiver. There's plenty of receiving talent in the NFL. You take 5 and you spend it on Jamar Chase, who, yes, he has potential to be a great receiver. He has the connection with Joe Burrow, sure, but you can get a generational talent like in a guy like Penei Sewell, who is probably end up going to be one of the best linemen in the league for a long time to come. Protecting your franchise quarterback with weapons, I'd take that all day over getting another weapon for your quarterback.
At 6, we have another wide receiver
Always
off the
use
board.
protection.
No,
And
guys, just bear
Jalen.
this in mind though. One more thing. The Bengals left
Jalen-
guard is Michael Jordan. So when you have Michael Jordan on your own line,
Yeah,
Dang,
that's a good
Michael
point.
Jordan's playing for them?
he is. It's
Oh,
true.
balling.
We have Jalen Waddle at 6. Another wide receiver.
Can I start?
This is kind of the same thing, except for I think the Dolphins needed a weapon even more than the Bengals. So I'm going to give this a B.
Yeah.
Because again, Penei Sewell is still there. So
I
I would
have
have
a-
given them
I'm
an A
giving-
if Penei Sewell wasn't there.
I'm giving the Dolphins a B minus because this is like, I mean, it's any team when their pick that they want is drafted ahead of them. You know, they were scrambling. They're like, okay, let's just go take another receiver. You know, the Dolphins were in line to take Jamar Chase. That was like the big guess. And when it turned out that the Bengals ended up taking him, which was kind of surprising. They went into ultra super like, oh God, we need a receiver mode, and just went with the first choice, or at least the closest choice they had to Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that if they're trusting in Tua to take them to the future, Penei Sewell, since he's still there, would have been the better pick. I mean, you leave Penei Sewell, you take him. Like, I feel like yes, the receiver was needed, but they kind of rushed it in the fact that they lost what they were going to go for, and so they should have just gone for the lineman instead of compensating with another receiver.
Let's end it on Levi,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
we'll
gonna
have Seth
say-
right here.
I'm gonna say B again, for the similar reason that once again Waddle and Mac Jones, Waddle and Tua had a lot of good chemistry back in 2019 when Tua was with Alabama, and that was Waddle's breakout season. Waddle didn't play much last year, so it's hard to know how well he'll be this upcoming year. But because of that chemistry, I'm gonna give it a B. But if it had been somebody else, again, that's not a very smart pick to pick a guy who I think is an overrated receiver at 6 overall when you have Penei Sewell.
He's not overrated.
He is a little bit.
I think he is a little overrated. I mean, Devontae Smith won the Heisman.
And he went to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seth?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think teams really slept on the fact that there's a superstar offensive lineman here, and they just had to go with what they think the quarterbacks would like more than what they really needed for the team more. And same as the Bengals. Go back there. Like, yes, you do need a receiver. This isn't as bad because you don't have that many weapons. So I'm gonna give it a B minus instead of a C minus, but you still would rather take that generational lineman to protect your quarterback than to take this receiver that might help your quarterback a little bit in the passing game. I think teams really underrated the lineman.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
agree. Then we go to the Lions, and this team I
He
actually, thought
actually
was the
did something
team,
right.
This team was the team that I actually thought needed a wide receiver, but at the same time, you have Penei Sewell, so you take Penei Sewell. But
They did something
honestly,
right.
if the Lions are in the Dolphins position to take Jalen Waddle, they really need, after trading Galladay, or I guess they just let walk in free agency. Either way, Penei Sewell, I'm going to give an A pick, not an A plus pick, just because I do think a wide receiver is a little more necessary, but it's Penei Sewell. So there you go.
Yeah, like Drew, I'll give it an A. I mean, when you look at teams like Miami and the Bengals, they have receivers. Then when you look at Detroit, they lost Kenny Galladay. Who's their second receiver? Marvin Jones. Didn't he go somewhere as well? Didn't they lose Marvin Jones?
I don't know, but
too?
Marvin Jones is the number one wide receiver.
Yeah,
He's
so
not gonna
Marvin
cut in
Jones
the
is their
NFL.
number one wide receiver who was injured in 2019, played last year, had increased snaps because Galladay was hurt, and he wasn't that effective. I mean, we saw it. Detroit's passing game was kind of iffy. I think, yes, bringing in Goff helps. And I mean, we didn't really hear a lot about the offensive line of Detroit last year. And I feel like if you're bringing in a new quarterback, the first thing I would do if your offensive line is pretty decent is get him a receiver, because you just lost your number one receiver. And so I think, yes, Penei Sewell is a great pick. I mean, it gives Goff time to throw, but who's he going to throw to is the question.
Yeah, I agree. Again, the counter argument is just it's Penei Sewell. So that's
Exactly.
like why I gave it an
And I
A,
mean, that's
but
why I'm going to give it an A as well. But I mean,
yeah.
yes, you get the protection, but Marvin Jones Jr. is not a good number one wide receiver. And it makes me guess, are they going to try and trade for a wide receiver? I mean, it's kind of late now. So I think Detroit was hoping to get a
They
wide
might just
receiver.
tank this year, to be honest. Levi,
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think Detroit's going to be very good this year, and I like to pick Penei Sewell, kind of just fell right into their laps. I think had Penei Sewell already been off the board, then they're definitely going to take either Waddle or Smith. But Penei Sewell, people were saying that he's a potential number 2 pick early in the season. He kind of fell a little bit. People thought he would be the 4 or the 5. Most people seem to think he was going to the Bengals, and the Bengals decided, no, we're going to take Jamar Chase instead. Then people thought maybe with the Dolphins. Nope, they didn't. So he kind of just fell right into the Lions' laps. They would have been dumb not to take it. A.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
plus.
Consider that Jared Goff is not a very mobile quarterback, and Matt Stafford, who is kind of mobile, got sacked like 45 times a year, and now Goff is less mobile. So You need good protection for that.
Always use protection.
Seth,
I actually like this pick a lot. I mean, as much as I need a receiver, they're not going to be good in the first place. Kind of like what Levi said, and you're going to take the lineman that can help you long term. And once you get down the line, you get a better defense, you get a better running back, and then you start getting a better receiver. And once you find your franchise quarterback, then you can start worrying about the right receiver spot. But for now, you just got your lineman that will help protect whoever you bring in as your franchise quarterback down the line. I'm going to give it
Yeah.
a plus or an A minus.
okay, so we have A, and A minus. Next, we have J.C. Horn to the Panthers. I know how much Seth likes. I know how much Seth likes Justin Fields. So we're gonna start off with Seth. Your thoughts on this pick?
Leo was trying to tell me that Sam Darnold is the Panthers franchise guy. He's not. There's no way that you want to have Sam Darnold as your guy for the future. This is a bad pick. I mean, J.C. Horn.
He is. Why would they trade for him if he's not their franchise guy?
J.C. Horn at the start of this year was projected to go in the late first round to second round. He started to move up. Farley had back surgery, whatever. The 7th pick in the NFL draft for J.C. Horn.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go like 15 to 20.
I'm giving this a D plus. A, you have Surtain on the board, who's a better overall player. If you wanted a quarterback that bad, take Patrick Surtain.
That's why it's a bad pick. That's why. It's a bad
B,
pick, yeah.
you could have taken Justin freaking Fields, who is the second best quarterback in this draft, and instead you go with a second best corner when the first best corner is still there. D plus.
I give it
Yeah.
an A. I love this pick. And guess what? ESPN also gives it an A.
Surtain is literally better.
JC Horn, that's actually debatable. JC Horn, most people are now saying that he could be the defensive rookie of the year.
Oh my God, Levi, it's like taking Zach Wilson over like Trevor Lawrence. Like they're both gonna be really good, but like Trevor Lawrence is better.
How do we know Surtain is better? Because
Because
there's
he
a lot of
just
scouts,
is.
there's a lot of
He's
scouts.
played better.
There's a lot of scouts who are saying that JC Horn is going to be better.
These scouts
I don't
must
know.
be so
I'm gonna give it
I
a.
don't know if with the broken back is still better than Jason
And the quarterback debate is stupid. The Panthers are, of course, they're not taking a quarterback. They would not have.
The
traded
Panthers
a
are going
second-
to no, look.
They
This
would
is
not
what's
have
going to
traded
happen.
a second rounder, a fourth rounder, and a sixth rounder to get Darnold if they were planning on drafting a guy. They want
JC
Darnold.
Horn-
He's a good
He's not.
QB.
JC Horn is going to go overlooked because they're going to be too busy worrying about Darnold and his stupid ghost seeing ways.
Darnold could
Right.
have a resurgence.
The only reason he may get more
attention.
attention is because the Panthers are going to constantly be on defense with all of Darnold's turnovers.
Remember, guys, Darnold.
Well, my thing is,
Darnold
I'm
is
gonna give
still
my grade.
24. He has
I'm
so
gonna
much
give my
potential
grade-
that's still left.
I'm gonna give it a C minus grade because A, they have Surtain on the board. B, I think
They need a quarterback.
getting Justin Fields in there. I'm not saying Sam Darnold can't play. I'm saying that is a great competition to really see what Sam Darnold is made of. Really see what Justin Fields is made of. Give him some competition. You know, Russell Wilson had some competition in his first year. He beat him out.
The backup.
Justin Fields.
Russell Wilson had competition with the career backup.
Matt
Yeah, but he was
Hasselbeck.
a career backup that we signed for how many millions of dollars?
Matt
Like,
Hasselbeck.
$10 million.
Matt
signed
Hasselbeck.
Flynn for
Yeah,
10
so it was actually a pretty big signing. Anyways, Russell Wilson beat out a backup. There's been guys who has beat out backups before, and I just think if you really want to see what Sam Darnold is made of, you start in the first 4 games, and then if Justin Fields, you have Justin Fields just to rely back on because next year, the quarterback class is not that strong, and if you want to have a good season this year with the Panthers, who are actually a pretty good team last year considering. We have some good pieces there. I don't think they're going to get a top 10 pick. Personally, I think they're going to be okay, not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to get a quarterback next year. You take Justin Fields, who I
They
think
don't want a
is the
quarterback
third-
next year or
the
this
third
year.
best quarterback. But what if Sam Darnold
They're
fails?
going. They're going
Then
to
you
want a
have Justin
quarterback
Fields.
next year.
They're betting on him not to. He's still
That's a bad
super
bet.
young. When
Your
you're
odds are
20
against you.
He's 24 and he was a former.
And then on top of it, you
number
have
3
Patrick
overall.
Surtain there. So we're going to move on. I see where Levi's coming from. I really do. But I just think that J.C. Horn isn't as good as Patrick Surtain, and that just adds to it. At 9, we'll let Levi start off because he does not like this player at all. It's Patrick Surtain.
I'm giving it an A. I love Patrick Surtain as well. I
Okay.
think that all these picks are super smart. The Broncos are smart not to take a quarterback, especially now that the Packers are saying they might trade Aaron Rodgers to the
There's
Broncos.
no way the Broncos are going to get Aaron Rodgers.
Well, how
Vic
how-
Fangio is not going.
There have been rumors. That's all I'm saying.
The
There's
the
been rumors.
Packers said there's no way they're trading Aaron Rodgers.
No, the Packers said they're open to trading him to the Broncos.
Mm-mm. There's no way. I would have.
Grade,
I-
Levi,
I-
you have
I
an
think
A?
it's. I think it's an
I
A.
give him an
I
A.
think it's an A pick as well. Patrick Surtain is one of the great corners. I mean, you have all those receivers, and now to pair him up with, a defense with, a pretty solid defense. You have Von Miller coming back from injury, and the Broncos defense was like the best defense in 2015, and it's been dropping off over the past couple of years. And I feel like Patrick Surtain is possibly going to give them that boost. I like the pick, but I think what Drew is thinking is, a quarterback may have been good in this situation, especially with Drew Lock under center. I mean, he's a slinger, but I mean, if you get like Mac Jones or if Justin Fields slips, even better. Because I mean, Mac Jones is older, he's good decision making. Justin Fields is just an all-around great quarterback. So I feel like, yes, it's a great pick with the resources that were given to them, but I feel like you can't bet on trading for like a Super Bowl champion quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. You can't base
Yeah.
like the whole. You
They
can't
also
base
just
your.
traded for Bridgewater.
You can't base. Well, I mean, it's Bridgewater. You can't base your whole draft scheme on hoping to trade for a quarterback who's been going to the postseason for the past 3 years in Green Bay. It's
In my
really
opinion-
risky,
I
and it
don't
would
think
be
that was-
super
In my-
frustrating.
I don't think that was their draft strategy.
In my opinion,
We lost you, Drew.
Oh no, he's dead.
Well, just to let everybody know, in Drew's opinion,
like the pick.
oh, he's back. He's back.
I'm back. Okay, guys. So my opinion is a B pick just because, again, you have Justin Fields there, and Justin Fields is he's really good. I don't understand why people are sleeping on him. You have Drew Lock at the helm. Again, you take Justin Fields, and then you see if what Drew Lock is made of, and if you don't like him, then you start Justin Fields the rest of the year, and you get rid of Lock. It's really not that hard. Then again, I give this a higher grade because Surtain's the better cornerback out of JC and Patrick Surtain. So I'm gonna have the B pick because it's a good pick, but Justin Fields is still there. Seth,
Yeah, I actually like the pick. I mean, you have Bridgewater, you have Drew Lock on to get at least more year. And as much as you guys think that's not going to happen, Rodgers to the Broncos might very well happen. So getting a cornerback in Patrick Surtain, who is the best corner in the draft, I'm going to give this an A minus. I really like this pick for the Broncos. Help the defense out a lot.
next we have Alex's Eagles. We're gonna let him start it off.
Eee.
So the trade entailed
The Eagles
the
traded
Cowboys
up.
trading it down to 12 and the Eagles trading up to 10.
Up to
I don't know
10.
quite what do you know what it was, Alex? Do you know what
So
you guys
this is
gave
the
up?
mentality. It was almost guaranteed.
But do you know what you gave up?
We gave up a second round. Let me check. I think we
it's
gave
fine.
up.
I'll
I think
check.
we
You
gave
just
up
give
a
your
second
opinion on it.
round in next year. A second, a third, and a fifth, maybe a second and a fifth, maybe for next year.
Okay, you just talk. I'll figure it out.
So what happened was the Giants were guaranteed to take a receiver. It was on the board. I mean, there was no other doubt about it. And they still ended up taking a receiver when they dropped back. And there was one good receiver left, and that was Devontae Smith. The Giants they're sticking with Daniel Jones, and they just got what's his name, Galladay, and so they needed somebody on the other side since Tate is kind of risque. So they were going to take a receiver no matter what. And what happened was, I guess the Eagles made the right decision in getting ahead of them so that they could get the last good receiver in the draft. So what they did is they traded with Dallas because Dallas was going to take a corner because Dallas needs a cornerback. And so Dallas realized that they weren't going to get a corner. And so they might as well drop back and pick up Micah Parsons since Sean Lee just retired. And so it was a win-win for both teams because there was no way that the New York Giants were going to take a linebacker because they have what's his face?
They have I know who you're talking about. The guy from the Pack.
Blake Martinez.
Yeah, Blake Martinez.
They have Blake Martinez, who is outstanding. And so there was no way they were going to take a linebacker. And that was the Cowboys' new interest after Sean Lee retired and all the corners were gone, or the good corners at least. And so it was a win for the Cowboys if they dropped back, and it was a win for the Eagles if they went up. And so what happened is the Eagles traded up, and they get the final receiver, which is Devontae Smith. It's an A+ pick. I love the pick. You know, I had a worry that they were going
You
to
don't
pick
think
a
it's gonna be another
quarterback.
JJ Arcega-Whiteside?
What?
You don't think another JJ Arcega-Whiteside?
I feel like if we decided to trade up for this pick, and it's the Heisman Trophy winner, we're going to put more effort into getting him on the field. I mean, he had a connection with Jalen Hurts in the past while he was at Alabama. And so I feel it's a good pick, especially with, you know, how we got it as well. I mean, the Giants ended up dropping back to 17th, and they still ended up picking Kadarius Tooney, another wide receiver. So they still got a wide receiver, and the Cowboys still got their linebacker. So it all kind of worked out. But yeah, I mean, Devontae Smith is an A+ pick. I mean, there isn't really anything else to say about it. I mean, yes, the Eagles
Yeah.
linebacker core is kind of iffy, but Alex Singleton had a great season last year. Corner, I mean, I would have liked Patrick Surtain or a receiver, but since they're both gone, taking the Heisman Trophy winner was definitely the good pick, and they made the right choice. So A+ pick overall.
I'm gonna do mine really quickly. I love the pick. I think Devontae Smith is the most talented wide receiver. I don't think he's the best wide receiver. I think he needs
He's
to
most
gain
talented,
about
yeah.
10 to 15 pounds to really be put into that upper echelon tier. I think his he has his low is wide receiver 2, and his high is a Tyler Lockett and beyond type player. And I think it's a really good pick for the Eagles, who need a weapon for the future, especially because I don't think this is their year.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, I really don't think you guys screw up this pick. It's kind of surprising because I'm used to you guys screwing up picks. But
Oh, I was
I mean,
worried we were going to take an offensive lineman.
yes, I mean, so are the Seahawks though. So I mean,
I
yeah.
feel like
Uh,
in the second round of the draft, we have pick 5. And so I feel like because they're talking about trading Zach Ertz. So I feel like on the table is either an offensive lineman or Pat Fryermuth, the tight end from Penn State.
mhm. So Seth, really quick,
Yeah, Alex covered everything. I'm just gonna give it an A.
A.
All right, why
Okay.
don't now that we've done the first 10, right? So why don't we do for the rest of the picks, only one person gives their grade to try to
Sounds
split
good.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Drew, you
Yeah.
can
Okay.
start.
So I guess I'll start at 11. Justin Fields to the Bears. I'm actually gonna give this to Seth. Seth, you can do 11.
Justin
know what
Fields to
Drew's
the
would be.
Bears. I love this pick for the Chicago Bears. You got Mr. Andrew Dalton over there right now as your starting quarterback. I think you still have Nick Foles, but we know Nick Foles isn't that. We know Andrew Dalton isn't.
Excuse me?
Sorry, but nowadays Nick Foles isn't the same.
Yikes.
Andy Dalton is washed, old, bad, and you needed to bring in
Agreed.
someone that can come and help you out big time. And Justin Fields, in my opinion, should be the number 2 pick in the draft. You trade up, you give up quite a bit, but you trade up and you get a steal. You trade up 9 spots for Justin Fields, who is, if you just watch him at Ohio State, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run well. He's fast. He's mobile. He's actually pretty strong and big. He has a solid arm, not as well as Zach Wilson, but he's better. He's a better runner. He's more physical and more mobile than Wilson, and he still has a good enough arm. He still is an accurate quarterback. He will be a huge threat for this Bears team, who will be a division. They'll be a wild card, and they'll most likely be a division winner in the next 4 years for sure. Next 3 years, next 2 years if Rodgers leaves soon. This is such a good pick. A+.
Quick question for you, Seth. What do you think was the probability that Justin Fields was going to fall out of the top 10 2 months ago?
Literally 0, like 1%. None. No chance. And now they get him at 11. W.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I agree. 12, I'll take Micah Parsons. Linebacker,
take him?
obviously. Oh, yeah, go ahead, actually. Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Being a hater of Dallas, I actually like this pick. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I feel like Sean Lee leaving their linebacker room was definitely a shock to everybody. He retired. He's been injury ridden for the past couple of seasons, and they filled that hole. I mean, they were going for defense anyway in a corner, and I think they adjusted quickly and they adjusted correctly, and they picked up Micah Parsons, who is one of the greatest or one of the best linebackers. I mean, he was explosive in Penn State. He was able to get to the quarterback. He was a great in the midfield, and he was great pressure as well. And so I feel like this is definitely a boost to a Cowboys team who focused on defense last year, signed a bunch of players, but then ended up having the worst defense because it just didn't work. The scheme didn't work. I mean, they had all those good players, but they could get no pressure. And I think bringing in a rookie like Micah Parsons will definitely loosen up that pressure, and they'll get a good linebacker who will be able to get up to the quarterback as well. And he's also big and can defend like the big tight ends that we're seeing in the NFC East today.
Yeah, shout out to Jerry Jones for honestly really, really nicely done, trading down a couple picks and then taking
Yeah, I
a
mean,
really good player,
win-win.
Micah
It was a
Parsons.
win-win.
Yeah, and then shout out to Penn State. That's Alex's college team that he supports a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah, I
Penn
mean,
State,
Micah
too. I
Parsons,
like Penn
although
State as
Penn
well.
State was terrible. Micah Parsons did not play this year, but last year when Penn State went, was it 12-2? He was insane. He was
Yeah.
crazy.
Levi, you can go ahead. You're Justin Herbert, so you might as well.
Yeah, Justin Herbert did not get drafted this year, but it was Rashawn Slater.
I
who
said
took the Chargers.
you're Justin Herbert.
Oh, sorry, I look like Justin Herbert. I see. Yeah, Rashawn Slater. I don't think there's much to say about this pick other than A+. You know what? When you have a young quarterback, you got to get him protection. Justin Herbert, I've said that I think he can be an MVP candidate this year. I really do.
Oh, heck yeah.
I put him in my top 5 for MVP, right there with Wilson and Lamar Jackson. I think obviously
And
Mahomes
Devontae
is my
Smith.
favorite, but I would say Mahomes, Wilson, Jackson, and Herbert. Like
Devontae Smith.
Literally, Herbert has a chance of winning the MVP. Get him the protection he needs. Rashawn Slater probably should have been a top 10 pick, but he fell because a lot of teams wanted their receivers and their quarterbacks this year. So this is a perfect pick for the Chargers. I knew the minute I saw that, the minute that I saw that Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn were both going in the top 10, that's when I kind of realized the Chargers are going to get this guy, Rashawn Slater. And I thought to myself, the Chargers
W.
are celebrating. Justin
Yeah,
Herbert
that was a great
celebrating too.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice pick.
I mean,
Next
something
we have
that put Justin Herbert on like the board was all of his crazy erratic throws. And yeah, they were really spectacular and like a lot of great catches were made. But like when you look back, you shouldn't have to be making those throws all the time. And it was partially because he didn't have the protection. And so he had to roll out and throw across his shoulder and throw across, his body. And I feel like this is definitely a great pick.
Yeah. Elijah Vera Tucker's next for the Jets.
Also, I gotta head out.
Okay, so Alex is gonna head out. He has stuff to do, but there he goes.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Alex,
having
for
me.
coming on the show. We're gonna continue this.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye, Alex. Yeah. Elijah Vera Tucker, a really, really good pick. I think he's just a little slightly worse version of Rashawn Slater. Although he's a guard, Slater's a tackle. This is a good pick. You get Zach Wilson, and then you get a big man to defend him. I'm gonna give it a B plus pick. It's a good pick. And Seth gets the interesting pick in Mac Jones at 15.
All right. Well, Mac Jones is an interesting pick. In my opinion, he was the best fit for the Patriots. There was talks about Jones going at number 3, which I never thought was a good pick, but the Patriots are probably happy to see all the 3 rumors. They're probably getting stressed, not going to get a quarterback, or they're going to have to go after like Mond or Trask, or one of the late round guys in the 6th, 7th round. But instead, at 15, they have Mac Jones, a system QB from Alabama, sitting right there on their board to go into New England and be another one of Bill Belichick's disciples, help this team out. And he said in his draft, he knew deep down, he wanted to go to New England. That's the place that he really wanted to go, be coached up by Bill Belichick. And he has potential to be the best quarterback from this draft. The thing is, he will be a boomer bust player. He will either be that guy and take off his career with the Rocket with Belichick, or he'll just be a bust like all their Alabama quarterbacks. I'm going to give this an A- pick.
I actually kind of disagree with that analysis. I feel like he seems like a Kirk Cousins, a guy that's just going to be pretty average most of his career.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Nah.
I agree that he's going to be average. He has a chance to boom.
The thing about most Alabama
chance to
players,
bust.
Yeah, you go, Drew.
Chance to boom, chance to bust, but I think he's probably just going to be a little bit below average player. But Mac Jones. Do you think, Seth, we have Mac Jones or Cam Newton starting, or even what's his name? Who's the backup quarterback?
Stidham.
Did him.
It's not gonna be him.
Oh yeah, Jared Stud.
The most likely start off with Cam Newton, and after a couple games, you'll see that just does not work, and you go to Mac Jones.
Do you like the Cam Newton being a Taysom Hill type player idea?
I mean, sure, that's okay. And Newton's still physical.
I didn't really think
fast.
of that, but yeah,
that
that'd
could
be
work.
Yeah, because he's a physical guy. I was, maybe a little bit more throwing than what Taysom Hill usually does, but maybe a guy that comes in on 3rd and 1, maybe they do like a weird, really like just like split the 50-50 snaps. And they really don't have a starting quarterback. That'd be crazy. That'd be Bill Belichick. And then in 20 years, everybody's doing the 50-50 split quarterback. Everyone needs 2 quarterbacks. That'd be crazy. But next we have Levi. Levi, you are going to take at 16, Zaven Collins. This is maybe one of the biggest reaches. Go ahead.
Pretty much every grade I've seen doesn't like this pick. I do think it's smart for the Cardinals to go for a defense because their defense was not very good last year. They did have a pretty solid secondary, so I think picking a linebacker is probably the best move. There was probably better linebackers to go with. The Washington football team got Jamin Davis, who supposedly is being graded higher. So I'm gonna say, I'll say B- for the Arizona Cardinals.
I would go lower than that. I'd go like a C, but yeah.
They also took
Alex-
a linebacker last year too.
Yeah, and Simmons. Simmons is already a stud. And I have Alex Leatherwood for the Raiders. This is a good pick just because it's again another offensive lineman though. This is like what the 4th? No, this is the 5th offensive this is the 4th offensive lineman taken though. So you are, I think that the top 3 guys really kind of put themselves out there. Is definitely top 2, and then you have Elijah Bear Tucker, and then kind of everybody else. But I'm gonna give this a solid B- pick, maybe a B pick. I think it's a good pick. The Raiders need someone there that can hopefully make an impact for the next 15 years. I don't know if this is their guy, but yeah, I think it's a good pick. Seth has Jalen Phillips, defensive end for Miami Dolphins.
I'm not gonna lie, I've really never heard of Jalen Phillips. So the Dolphins, do they need a D end? Maybe. So I'm just gonna go with the B. Someone else can do this one if they want.
Yeah, I don't know much either. Levi, got anything?
No.
The
From
Dolphins
the
picked
tape-
nobody, so probably gonna go with like a C+ or a B-.
From the tape I saw, just after the draft pick was in, he looked pretty dominant. They said he was a pretty average. I think it's a pretty average pick. Yeah, I'll go with a B, defensive end for Miami. Sure. Then we have Jamin Davis. Levi just talked about how he was rated higher than Zaven Collins. Do you agree, Levi?
Oh yeah, I do. I think Jamin Davis is a good pick, better than the Stephen Collins pick. It's a strong choice for Washington. I think Washington may have been hoping to get to have Mac Jones fall to them, but because the Bears traded up to get Fields, that meant Jones went to the Pats, and then Washington was kind of just stuck without a QB. So they're gonna have the worst quarterbacks in the league next year, which means their defense has to be strong.
Yeah. I don't think
know-
there was any way Mac Jones falls
Well,
that far.
the
but-
way that he does is if the Bears don't trade up, and the Patriots decide they'd rather have Fields than Jones, then Jones falls to 19. Possibly he could. I mean, that was the way it would happen. But the Bears were very intent on getting Fields, which meant the Patriots took Jones. And Washington. I think they picked the best guy on the board at the time, the best defensive player. Kwity Paye, they could have gone for an end a defensive end Kwity Paye, but they already have a really good pass rush. They could improve the linebacking. Jamin Davis is the nice way to go.
Okay. Kadarius Toney for the Giants, I'm going to give it an F. I think they really reached on Toney. Personally, I think they really reached on him. I think they could have traded down and still got him in the 2nd round. I don't know why they got him this high. Maybe I'll give him a D minus just because I do think they needed a wide receiver. But then again, they did get out and get Kenny Galladay. So I'm gonna give it a D minus pick. I don't love the pick. I think they could have just gone and gotten Kwity Paye and just taken another wide receiver in the second round. That's just me. I just think Kwity Paye's that good. I really love Kwity Paye. But Kadarius Toney, not feeling it. Seth, how about Kwity Paye? Drafted 21st to the Colts, who are looking for a big, deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance.
Wait, he's a
if
DN.
Carson Wentz can perform. Yeah,
He's a
DN.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like this pick for the Colts. The offense is good. It's not quite there yet, but the defense, you just add another piece of this insanely good defense, and you're stacking up pieces. And the Colts are looking to make some damage this year. And Kwity Paye, I think, can come in and be good right away. He can be a guy that can come in and help you. I really like this pick. I mean, a defensive end. They have a great linebacking core. They have what's their best defensive player's name? The defensive end.
Defensive end.
Or their defensive tackle, the sack
Buckner?
guy.
Buckner?
You have to force Buckner. Now you pair it up
Oh,
with
yeah,
Kwity
yeah.
Paye. This team is really, really scary at the pass rushing.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna go with A minus.
yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, if Carson Wentz somehow figures out a way to go back to that MVP type football, they could genuinely win the Super Bowl. I'm not even joking. Then again, chances are he's not going to go back to that. But yeah. Then we have Caleb Farley. I love this pick too. Levi.
Well, usually, when a team picks a guy who kind of fell down on the board because of injuries, people say it's a bad pick. People are saying this is a C, a B minus, a D plus. Some people, usually, to me at least, and maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I am wrong, but usually to me it seems like when a team will take a player lower than people used to think because they got injured.
Yeah.
Usually
100% agree.
usually that player ends up being just as good as people initially thought before the injury. And then everyone's like, "Oh, I can't believe we didn't think he was going to be any good." That's just what it seemed to me. So to me, I think Caleb
DK Metcalf was like that too.
Yeah, DK Metcalf was like that. So it seems to me like there's no problems to me for picking Farley, who most people initially thought was going to be the second best cornerback, and then he got hurt, and J.C. Horn ended up being better than him. But the Titans, they didn't have a very good secondary. They allowed a lot of passing yards last year. So good job. Upgrade your secondary, get the cornerback, and a guy who, I think that there's a decent chance that this guy can be a Pro Bowler, and if not, he can still be a solid player, even if he's not a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, this guy was an arguable top, 12 pick.
Yeah, there was earlier mock drafts where I had him going like 12, 13.
Yeah, and he falls all the way to 22. This kind of reminds me of like what you do in stocks, you buy low and then, you sell high, and it's just kind of a discount, right? He gets injured, and yes, you do take on some risk, but if your initial investment is what you think it is, if it drops a little bit, then you shouldn't be worried about it because he's still that player that you think he was. And I think this is, a really good pick. I would give it an A+ pick. Next, we have Christian Darrisaw. I read a little bit up on him afterwards just because I am somewhat of a Viking fan. I have a pretty good friend who's a Viking fan. And yeah, this is a very average pick. This is like they got pretty good value for a pick that he will probably start at left tackle because Riley Reef got released. And now he's signed with the Bengals, I believe. But anyways, I do think that this is a pretty solid pick. I'm going to give it a B+, because Darrisaw obviously could be hit or miss, but I think he'll be a hit more than likely. Seth gets Najee Harris to the Steelers. Many mock drafts had him going to the Steelers. Not that big of a surprise. Seth, you got to pick?
Yes. All right. Najee Harris to the Steelers. I actually like this pick. He's a big physical running back. Now, yes, Connor kind of was a physical running back, but Najee Harris to take it to another level. This guy is a monster. I think he's 6'3", 250, 240. Like, he is big dude that will truck you. He will knock you to the ground. He will stiff arm you. And I think this is the brand of football the Steelers want to play. They want to get back to that the dirty, knock you down type of Steelers. That's what I feel like they should be going back to. And Najee Harris can help them do that. He's flashy, he's strong, he's a highlight-worthy player, and he's a good player. He's the best running back in the draft, better than ETN. I know they went back to back, but I think Najee's a better pick, and I really like this pick for the Steelers. I'm gonna go with an A.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Levi, you got Travis Etienne. Don't like this pick as much just because you had a breakout rookie last year. I don't know. Levi?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of seemed like a reach when you just had a rookie who rushed for 1,000 yards. But I'll say this, the Jaguars running back room looks pretty scary now. And again, Travis Etienne, Jamar Chase. No, they didn't get Jamar Chase. Who did they get?
What? The Trevor Lawrence?
Why am I thinking Jamar Chase?
Trevor Lawrence.
Did I seriously say Jamar Chase instead of Trevor Lawrence?
Maybe.
I don't
Let's
know.
ignore that.
Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence played together at Clemson, so they have a bit of connection. I don't know how much it needs to have a quarterback and a running back connection. Usually you think, quarterback receiver connection, but quarterback and running back played together last year, and Etienne was really, really good last year. I remember, I mean, I was questioning Seth, why is this guy not considered a top 10 pick? And obviously, running backs just never go in the top 10, but
Well, no.
there's been a few, but
Saquon.
yeah, Saquon. But ultimately, I think this does make the Jags better. But yeah, it is kind of interesting, James Robinson. Maybe they just don't trust that James Robinson is going to be as good as he was last year.
I think it's more they just really like Travis Etienne than don't trust Robinson. I mean, I don't really think you cannot trust a rookie that rushed for 1,000 yards. Like, what more do you want from him? An undrafted rookie who rushed for 1,000 yards. I think Etienne, though, was a D pick just because he's a good player, but they already have a running back. I just think they could have filled up so many more holes. They're the Jaguars. They're the worst team in the NFL, and they picked the one position they already were okay at. I don't fully understand it, but we go to Greg Newsome next, cornerback for the Browns, 6', 192. I like the pick. I think he's a pretty good cornerback. I don't love the pick, but the Browns seem to be pretty happy about it. Really, the Browns don't have that many needs. They can kind of just take best available. But the cornerback was one of their primary, like, not really needs, but more like their primary wants. So I am going to go with a C+ pick. A C+ pick isn't bad. It just isn't great. I think it's an average pick. Next, we have Rashad Bateman, wide receiver for now the Baltimore Ravens, used to be Minnesota. Seth.
Yeah, I'm okay with this pick. The Ravens probably could have upgraded the defense, but they have a solid defense. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Lamar happy. They're trying to get him weapons as much as possible. So you're bringing Bateman, kind of a reach. He could have been a second-round pick, but I'm not mad at it. Now you have Bateman, Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews, a pretty solid pass-catching core over there. So I'm going to go with a solid B.
Yeah, I agree. I actually predicted this pick right before. I was like, they're probably going to pick Bateman here just because Hollywood kind of underperformed this year. And, yeah. Seth, Levi, Payne Turner,
Hold on.
DN.
Can you do the Saints, Drew? Because
You want Eric Stokes?
I want to do the Packers.
Okay. Don't know too much about Payton Turner. 6'6", 268 pounds from Houston. He goes to a really pretty good Saints team that has some salary cap issues. Obviously also needs to figure out who their quarterback is going to be. But I do think it's a pretty good pick. He from the things I saw, he looks pretty good. He looks like he's very flashy. He has a lot of athleticism to him, but he needs to put up some more sacks.
It's
And he had
such
a
a Seahawks
1.5.
pick. Don't you think?
What?
This seems like the type of pick a Seahawks would make.
Yeah,
A guy who
100%.
most people thought this guy was like a late rounder, and then the Saints decided, you know what, we're gonna take him in the first round.
No, it's more like most people thought he was going to be a mid second round to mid third round pick, and the Saints just were like, well, we really like this guy, we might as well just take him here, and it's kind of a reach, and I think that's kind of what that is. It's just like a pick that's like, I mean, I guess that's fine, but
Yeah.
he only had 1.5 sacks last year. Not really one you want to see from a D end. I'm just gonna give it a C minus. I think he could have done better. I think he probably could have done worse, but I don't know. I really don't know much about him, and I think that's part of the problem. So, Levi, you have Eric Stokes. Do you think this makes Aaron Rodgers happy?
Yeah, well, the Packers find out today from these reports that it's gone public, right? Aaron Rodgers disgruntled with Green Bay. They need to make him happy. You don't do that by drafting a cornerback. I'm sorry. Yeah, they do need to get another cornerback to complement Jair Alexander, but it's not like Jair's that bad that they need a quarterback or a cornerback in the first round. Because Jair is he's a really good cornerback. So yeah, this is gonna help their defense a lot, getting another hopefully good cornerback to complement Alexander. But there's receivers that they could have got. What's his name from Ole Miss, Elijah Moore, who a lot of people thought should have been a first rounder. He's still on the board. They end up going for the cornerback instead. You think that Aaron Rodgers is gonna go to bed tonight thinking, "Oh, I'm so happy that the Packers management likes me." No, that's not what he's thinking at all. He's thinking tonight, and he goes to bed. You know what? Maybe I should just quit this football thing for a year and do some Jeopardy, and maybe then they'll decide that they want to trade me. Like that's honestly, it seems dumb that Aaron Rodgers would
So,
want to leave the
draft
team
grade?
after winning the MVP. But when is the last time there was an MVP who, after the season, you wouldn't have known that Aaron Rodgers won the MVP from listening to the media reports because the media, there's not a lot to talk about with Aaron Rodgers. It's all about how the Green Bay Packers are not the best fit for him, right? Who gets all the hype? Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Trevor Lawrence gets all the hype.
So Wilson.
Rodgers doesn't get as much hype as he deserves, and part of that is because his organization hasn't treated him as well as he thinks they should be, and they're just gonna pay the price for this.
Levi, draft grade, go.
I'm gonna give him a D plus.
I'll give it a C because I think I like the player, but again,
Yeah,
I don't think
he has a really fast.
You didn't
Actually,
screw over
excuse me.
Aaron Rodgers with this pick, but you didn't make them happy, and that was the main objective, and I think you failed.
Yeah.
So next we have Gregory Rousseau for the Bills. I actually really like Gregory Rousseau. He's a really good DM. Seth.
Yeah, I like this Rousseau pick for the Bills. I saw a lot of Bills fans were very hype about this. You had a sort of an underwhelming defense last year. 2 years ago, you had that, what was it, number 1, number 2 defense in the league. And last year, they took a slight step down. So you want to come back and get that pass rush up. And Gregory Rousseau can help do that a lot.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it was lots of value. Seth, what's your draft grade?
I'm actually going to go with an A minus.
Yeah, I would have gone with an A. At 30, you've had this kind of value. I like the pick. Jason O, Levi.
So he's a pass rusher, but he doesn't get a ton of sacks.
Linebacker.
He's an edge.
He says outside linebacker here.
The website I'm looking at says edge.
Well, I guess he's a outside linebacker edge.
Well, according to what I've read, he's not a very good pass rusher, and that's kind of what people think he's going to become. So I guess he must have some potential. He has a ton of grind. He's had a really good workout. He seems like he's the guy with a lot of commitment and a guy who really wants to get better and wants to improve. So good job for that. But it sounds like right now it is kind of a reach to put him in the first round. The grades that I've seen have varied from about a C to an F.
This website has said that he really an F.
I don't know. That's what one website's saying. I think it's a little harsh to say F. I'll say C minus maybe.
Just because it says right here, like he has so much untapped potential, just that they really have to develop him. And he's a big guy, 6'5", 257 D end or whatever linebacker, whatever it is. Big guy. I think I think he has a lot of potential. Here it says eventually will develop into an excellent starter for the Ravens. You know, I think it's a fine pick. I'll give it a C. It just all depends about what your developing linebacking team looks like. Joe Tyron, you have a Washington Husky going in 32. He goes in the first round. Joe Tyron, he is obviously a very explosive player, but I'm going to give it a B pick. I do think that there were some guys they could have gone instead. He's a pass rusher as well.
There's a ton of effort, ton of heart, very physical player, though. I love him a lot. Like, he's a really solid person, player.
Yeah.
He brings lots of
I think it was a good pick. I really do. I still think it was like a great pick. But you know, as a Husky fan, I like the pick. And last pass rusher from the Huskies were taken in the first round was Vita Vea, and he's on the Buccaneers right now. And now you have Joe Tyron as well, so maybe they'll have a little bit of a relationship there just off of Washington alone. He grew up in Renton, Washington. It was a good way to end off the night for me. Obviously, not much things going on for Seattle, but Joe Tyron going. It was a good pick. I'll give it a C. Levi, quickly, Joe Tyron.
Oh, I mean, the Buccaneers already have such a good team, so he's probably not going to play much, or at least he's probably not going to start much this year. But for the future, yeah, it's good. They can develop him, but they have some great coaches and they have great players already. So hopefully, you know, this guy gets a couple years of development, and 3 years down the line, he could be a superstar and winning more Super Bowls with Tom Brady. So I'll say B+, A-.
Okay. So that's it, guys. Go watch. I have a bunch of reactions out for pretty much every player except for like the first 5 picks because I was not able to watch the first 5 picks. It kind of sucked. I was listening on the radio, but you know, it was a fun draft night. Obviously, Seahawks didn't get a pick, but either way, it was a fun draft night. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, it's a long video. You might as well like it because you liked it a little bit. Come on, you made it all the way to the end. Then subscribe, comment down below what you think. This draft, you think this draft was an entertaining draft? Did it live up to the hype? Leave a comment down below. Looking forward to the Seahawks hopefully drafting tomorrow. You never know, they could just keep trading down, but we'll probably get at least a couple draft picks tomorrow. So it'll be fun. Thanks for watching. And I know Seth has Coup Hoops. He also has a show. So if you want to see his reaction on that, check that out too. I believe it's in channels we think are cool. So yeah, go check that out. Thanks for watching. This is the NW Sportscast, and yeah, Kikuchi pitching a shutout. There we go. Shout out to him.
Yeah, that was
See you
nice.
guys. Yeah.
Well, one hitter too.
And Tramel had the homer.
Yeah,
for the win.
big game for the Mariners as well. All right.